Good afternoon. We are doing it live, doing more at 4 weekday afternoons. We do it live right here in 790 KABC. Mottek On Money, live on the air, streaming live online worldwide at KBC.com. Of course, you're on demand. Mottek On Money podcast, KBC.com, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, all your favorite podcast platforms on the socials too. Be sure to check out Mottek On Money and your humble host here, Frank Mottek. Well, stocks were mixed today at the finish after the Fed held the line on short-term rates at its last meeting, which just wrapped up today, a two-day policy-setting meeting, which was ended with the news conference today by Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Investors also taking in a lot of earnings news. Microsoft and Meta coming in after-hours trading. The Dow came in for a closing loss today of 172 points. The S&P 500 slipped 8. The NASDAQ gained 31 points. The Fed kept rates unchanged as expected today, but the decision was not unanimous, with Fed Governors Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman voting against that decision, preferring the Fed cut rates by a quarter of a percentage point. We did hear from the Fed chairman today, noting he said we're still in the early days of any potential tariff impacts on economic reports, and said no decisions have been made yet about a September rate cut. That'll be here before you know it. He didn't specifically say the Fed's next monetary policy move will be a reduction. Markets are reacting to all of this, as well as the number we got first thing this morning. The Fed and the markets got another signal on the health of the economy, with the gross domestic product, the GDP number, growing at an annual rate of 3% in the second quarter, rebounding from its first pullback in 3 years in the first quarter. We also got the ADP report, the private employers' jobs report, showing more jobs were added than expected in the month of July. This ahead of the big enchilada of monthly economic reports, which we'll be getting on Friday. That's the monthly jobs report from the U.S. Labor Department. Microsoft in focus after hours, climbing about 6% after the tech giant posted strong earnings. Meta rallying about 10% after the AI and social media giant beat analyst expectations. Of course, tariffs very much still in focus. We got the president's Friday deadline for trade partners to make deals with the U.S. or face blanket tariff rates. Can you believe it? It's August 1st already on Friday. What else is happening? Well, we did see the dollar firm a bit thanks to Fed Chairman Powell's comments. Gold pulling back more than $24 today at $3,328. Oil moving higher right now, above $70 a barrel once again. In the crypto space, we see Bitcoin at the moment hovering at around 117,300. Ford also in focus on earnings news today, posting an earnings and revenue beat for the second quarter. But it looks like the company increased its full-year tariff exposure expectation after seeing $800 million in tariff costs in the second quarter alone. Looks like they've adjusted their tariff impact estimates. We will talk about that, as well as all the big news on cars with our go-to car expert, Lauren Fix, editor-in-chief of Car Coach and the Total Car Score podcast, who will be joining me live later this hour. And billionaires are back in focus this hour, thanks to the Billionaire Reporter. That's a new digital media platform dedicated to covering billionaires, including many local billionaires here on a daily basis. I'll talk about that later this hour with Matt Toledo, a familiar name on the L.A. business scene. He's the former publisher and CEO of the Los Angeles Business Journal and past chair of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as Provisors, now heading up the BillionaireReporter.com. Matt Toledo will be back with us live later this hour. But first, on your money, the markets, the economy, crypto, the Fed, the whole works now. Joining us live, John NAJARIAN. Dr. J, as he's known on the major financial networks, co-founder of Market Rebellion, co-author of the book It's Not an Option, Learning How to Trade Options is No Longer an Option, It's a Necessity, with his brother Pete, and co-host of It's Not an Option podcast. He has the laser eyes on, too, covering crypto. So, John NAJARIAN, thank you very much for taking the call here this afternoon.
Always great to be with you, Frank. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to have you with us here, John NAJARIAN. Big day, big week, big month, big year. Give us your insight here as to what we got here.
Well, we've been setting records virtually every week. And obviously, since the V-shaped bottom occurred back in April, things are looking pretty strong. And obviously, another company joining the $4 trillion club, that company being Microsoft, that was a very positive move, and huge usage of their data center software, their cloud software, Azure, and so forth. Just a phenomenal report out of Microsoft. It's hard to believe that that stock was in the $20 and $30 range just a few years ago, and you look at it now and it's 10x that and then some.
Make an excellent point. The stock closed up slightly today at $5.13 and change, has popped about $45 to $5.58 here in after-hours trading on that earnings news, which you just described. It looks like Meta, Facebook's parent company, having a good day too.
Yeah, the Meta glasses are incredibly popular. Now, that's not what's driving as much of the revenue beat for Meta, but nonetheless, the fact that they are into peripherals, obviously they were into Oculus and so forth from their purchase of that company, but it seems that Meta is doing so many things right versus focusing on the so-called metaverse, which they changed the name from Facebook, of course, to Meta, in hopes that the metaverse really would be something spectacular for them. It was mainly just a giant black hole that they were throwing money into. But the latest things that Zuckerberg and the team are doing are really seeing positive results in the markets. So that one is up better than 10%, so call it $70 rally in the after hours. Just an incredible performance by Meta. And even I believe it's Qualcomm, which is part of their glasses in one way. Qualcomm's saying that the demand for those glasses is so extreme that it's driving their revenue higher than expected as well. So a lot of good news about Meta, and certainly a lot of interest around those glasses that let you make video as well as pictures. And if you're standing next to some building or person, you could basically say, what is that, or who is this? And the glasses will tell you audibly through the structure of your head without it being a blast that everybody else hears. It's pretty incredible, really.
Well, I see with those glasses on, I already know you're a great guy, so don't have to do anything special there. We're on the air live with John NAJARIAN, Dr. J, as he's known, on the major financial networks and longtime contributor in this program, and also co-author of the book, It's Not an Option. We'll get to the options here in just a moment. Since we've been speaking, it looks like Meta's up even more now, up around 80 or so to 776 and change. So that is really something. NVIDIA appears to be popping to record highs here as well. After hours, that one certainly has led an impressive rally. Looks like after hours up at around 183. What about the magnificent one here?
Well, it is. It was the $4 trillion monster, and a lot of people thought, oh well, once it touches there, it'll pull back. Well, no, it hasn't. It's just been churning higher, and what was $170 stock just a week ago is now pushing through 180 and going higher, it seems, on this both demand for AI equipment. That's helping lift super microcomputer, SMCI, as well as a number of other stocks that are really data center centric, if you don't mind me saying that. And those data center centric stocks have just had an incredible run, gearing up for the Blackwell chips that NVIDIA is pushing out there and that virtually everybody wants. But I guess only Elon Musk gets the first bite of that apple, because he has put hundreds of those chips to work already, and it's just an amazing thing.
All right, and what about Tesla? Since you brought up Elon Musk, a lot of buzz here about that Tesla diner in Los Angeles here, close to the West Hollywood area on Santa Monica Boulevard, getting international attention. Tesla's seen quite a bumpy ride this year. Looks like it ended down about $2 today at $3.19 and change. What about Tesla stock here?
Well, it's certainly good that Elon Musk is back at Tesla and the Boring Company and SpaceX and all the other things that he does. But I think a lot of what's going on, and maybe a little bit of today's softness, was Waymo, which is, of course, the Google-sponsored driverless cars. They were teaming up with Avis in the Dallas area to provide driverless cars and support for those driverless cars. Avis is going to do that. Waymo, of course, is going to provide all the car itself and the software and the cameras to make that work. They actually, I misspoke, they don't use cameras. That's Tesla that uses those. They use LiDAR and radar to basically determine if there's something in the way or how to stay in the lane and so forth. And my gosh, it's going to be a brave new world, and we're going to see it very quickly, Frank. And certainly Texas is a hub for a lot of what's going on, both Austin and now Dallas, for these driverless cars.
I was just recently when Tesla rolled out its driverless taxis, robo-taxi in Austin, Texas, and that was interesting. So it looks like Waymo trying harder now with Avis in the mix there, so that is very interesting. Let's get some more of the exciting stuff here. Crypto, which we did see a Bitcoin move above 123,000 the week, crypto week, when we saw the Genius Act signed into law by President Trump, and there are a couple of bills still hanging out there that you're following in the crypto space. What about Bitcoin here at around 117 or so? Ethereum has seen an impressive rebound this year, close to 3,800 here now, and the list goes on.
Yeah, well, as you say, Ethereum is indeed accelerating past Bitcoin in terms of annual performance, at least so far. I would think that continues because so many firms are adding Ethereum that is, as a treasury holding, much like Mr. Saylor gathers Bitcoin for his treasury stocks. I think in both cases, this is a great idea, not for all of your cash, of course, but it's certainly a way to catch lightning in a bottle, to basically announce that we have, like Block did last week, $1 billion in crypto, and most of it in Bitcoin. That's what Block announced, of course, symbol XYZ. That's the former head of Twitter and the creator of Twitter, really, Jack Dorsey. But there are so many other examples, like right now, Tom Lee in the Ethereum or ETH space, and adding those coins to Bitminer Technologies, BMNR. I think that's going to be something that we hear a lot more companies doing for a whole host of reasons, but not the least of which is Ethereum is significantly less expensive, even though you don't have to, of course, add an entire coin of Bitcoin or an entire Ethereum or whatever. You can fractionalize these and add whatever portion you want. But I think there is some appeal to Ethereum being so much cheaper per unit, if you will, rather than Bitcoin itself.
Very interesting. On the air live with John NAJARIAN. Anything else getting your attention in the crypto space these days?
Well, I think, like I say, Tom Lee being the head of BMNR is something that, I mean, the stock popped significantly over 100, went even higher than that, but has now pulled back into the 30s and, mid $30 level. I think if I were to bet on somebody to, again, find that lightning in a bottle, to find that real outperformance, it would be Tom Lee. So I really like that one and what they're doing, and I think there will be some scares, shocks through the market from time to time about quantum computing and whether or not it can break some of these very sophisticated crypto related technologies, but I think that's years away from actually happening. I think it's overall a great time to be riding the wave rather than getting off it.
On the air live with John NAJARIAN. And A lot of discussion, very bullish enthusiasm here for where Bitcoin is going. You probably have seen some the wild predictions that we've seen here. Where do you think Bitcoin is going? And no one's talking about how low a Bitcoin can go, only how high it can go. What's your view on where Bitcoin goes from here?
Well, you just described exactly what the scary part would be, because where do I think it could go or will go this year? Close to 145, 150,000 per coin. But if everybody's on that side, you know me, I'm probably going to be somebody betting on the other way, which would be probably somewhere in the 65 to 85 dollar range. I'm not saying it needs to collapse. I'm just saying that it's been a heck of a great ride, and if too many people are all leaning on one side, the boat tends to rock that way. So if everybody's all bulled up about Bitcoin, and there are a lot of bulls right now, that's one of the reasons that I favor Ethereum at these levels. But if I could just throw one thing out about the Fed, the fact that they did have a very obvious break from their unanimous support for Jay Powell's belief that we don't need rate cuts, I think we will see perhaps the first 50 basis point cut out in September, because I think he's going to have basically a mutiny on his hands between now and September about why our debt is so expensive compared to everybody else's debt of the developed world. And I don't think he'll be able to justify keeping our Fed funds rate at 4.5 when other countries, particularly countries in Europe that have significant issues, have borrowing power at significantly half of the level of our borrowing, because obviously when you issue a bond, it's dependent on what do you think of that particular economy, and we're the number one economy in the world. There is no disputing that. I don't know how we're paying what we're paying at that 4.5 or higher level to borrow money versus what Europe does. So I think that will change relatively quickly, Frank.
All right, as you and your brother Pete say, it's not an option. People need to know about options. You got that great book out and your podcast now too. Where's the action on the option front?
Well, 50 Cent, that option trader that comes in from time to time and trades more or less options that are in the 50 cent range. So rather than the rapper who has that same name, Curtis, who calls himself 50 Cent, the option 50 Cent is a very sophisticated trader who is hedging a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. And he or she, because I do not know who that trader is, has come back into the markets with the VIX in the 14 level right now, betting that perhaps we see a little pop between here and October in volatility. So they've made some very big trades recently. They're not usually right the same day they make those trades, but overall they're very accurate on when things are too expensive or too cheap.
That is very interesting. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We still don't know who Satoshi Sakamoto is, but I'm starting to think it's you based on all these conversations we've had over the years now. And that's the one who invented Bitcoin, by the way. And let me ask you this before we let you off. Look, any specific places where you are putting money now and or taking it off the table?
Still very strong on the AI and the data center play. So whether it's somebody like the cloud-supported stuff with Microsoft's Azure, or whether it's Google, I think any of those companies, when you look at the revenue numbers these guys are producing, it's something absolutely incredible. I mean, I think it was $75 billion from Microsoft just on the data center side. That's an incredible number. I don't think that slows down. I think it accelerates, and they're going to be building out for the future, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So Microsoft, MSFT, and Google both are two of them that I favor right now.
Terrific, John. Thank you very much for taking the call. Another big day here, and look forward to speaking to you again very soon. John NAJARIAN, Dr. J, as he's known in the major financial networks, including his own, by the way, a new podcast called It's Not an Option, and, of course, the great book, It's Not an Option, with his brother Pete. John, thank you very much for joining us live here this afternoon. Out to the freeways now, 790 KABC. Mixed finish for the stock market today as the Fed held the line on short-term rates. The GDP number, the economic growth number, came out better than expected first thing this morning. This ahead of the jobs report, which will be coming out on Friday morning. The Dow down 172, the S&P 500 down 8, and the NASDAQ up 31 points. Gold tumbling more than $24, back to $3,328 and change. Silver at $37.15. Taking a look at oil, back above $70 a barrel. This has the dollar actually firmed today. Bitcoin at more than 400 at 117,300 or so. Ethereum hovering at around 3,760. Solana at 175 and Doge at the moment at 22 cents. And now the latest news on 790 KABC.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk.
Hi, I'm Vince Colonnese, host of the Vince Podcast. These conversations where we can air all of this out without the filters, without the censors, without people with judgment, that's how you get a healthy country. Adult, reasonable, sober conversations. That's all I want.
In-depth interviews, live caller interactions, and a front row seat to the most important conversations of the day.
That's why I'm so grateful that we get to do this every day. You are really the best damn audience in media.
The Vince Show.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Welcome to NFL Flag.
Are you ready? Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah!
No matter who you are, lace up your cleats, smear on your eye black, step out on the field and chase something. Chase a goal.
Let's get it!
Chase the big time.
Get that, ladies!
Chase rings. Chase gold medals. Chase all of it. It's all up for grabs now. NFL Flag. Chase something. Visit NFLflag.com to find a league and start the chase today.
Mottek On Money continues, 790 KABC. Good afternoon. Billionaires back in focus thanks to the Billionaire Reporter, a new digital media platform dedicated to covering and celebrating billionaires on a daily basis, including many Los Angeles area billionaires. Joining us live now is Matt Toledo, familiar name to many of our listeners here, and a giant on the LA business scene, the former publisher and CEO of the Los Angeles Business Journal and past chairman of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce and Provisors, now heading up the billionairereporter.com. Matt Toledo, wonderful to have you with us. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Frank, it's always good to hear your voice, my friend. Good to be with you tonight.
Wonderful to have you with us, and congratulations on the Billionaire Reporter. Take it from the top and tell us what the folks need to know about the Billionaire Reporter.
Well, I'm drinking from a fire hose right now, frankly. So we officially launched the Billionaire Reporter yesterday. And our focus is really on covering billionaires in the U.S. We've got, over 1,000 billionaires in the U.S. And after you can name the first 10 or 20 billionaires that we all know and, read about, it's our view that there's, an enormous number of billionaires that are really incredible Americans doing interesting things, whether it's investments, deals, philanthropy, world impact. And those are the four corners of what we really want to cover. We want to cover these individuals that are sort of below the radar that you're really not, hearing about or reading about. And so that's what is our mission and our purpose, is to really build this community of billionaires.
I had the honor of working with you on many big events under your leadership at the LA Business Journal. And during those days, you interacted with the very top billionaires here in the Los Angeles area, many of them very big on philanthropy as well. Certainly Rick Caruso, Michael Milken, Dr. Patrick Soong-Chang, and many others in the mix. I certainly have to mention Jeff Bezos, since he has a place here too now, and the list goes on.
Well, Frank, this really was sort of my inspiration for this. I really enjoyed my years covering the entrepreneurs of Los Angeles and the greater LA area, and really putting a spotlight on those folks. And of course, as you mentioned, getting acquainted with the billionaires in our community. And what I realized is, like entrepreneurs, but in a different class altogether, these individuals really deserve a lot of recognition. They're fascinating people, as I mentioned, doing interesting things. And that really goes either unreported or underreported. And that's really the impulse or behind our news coverage. And I hope you don't mind me sharing online on radio here that I was able to recruit Charles Crumpley, longtime editor of the Los Angeles Business Journal, to join me as our editor-in-chief. And he and I, as you can imagine, are working away and having an awful lot of fun cultivating and reporting out this community.
That's wonderful. Charlie's terrific, and also had been a frequent guest on this program over many years as he was editor of the LA Business Journal and the San Fernando Valley Business Journal for many years as well. So we look forward to reconnecting with Charlie Crumpley, also a giant on the business scene and a very highly respected business journalist. So that's great that you're working with Charlie now, too. And so this will be done on a daily basis. You'll be covering all the news related to billionaires nationally as well as worldwide, right?
Well, initially, we're going to focus on the 1,000 billionaires or so in the U.S., and then downstream, we certainly have an eye on doing this globally. And as you mentioned, we'll post news every day. There's so much going on in that community, and make sure that we're covering all four corners. In addition to sort of what I'll call, the ongoing news of the day and their dealings, whether it's investments, philanthropy, and deals and so on. We also have a feature where we're covering newly minted billionaires, and you and your audience might be surprised to learn there's probably going to be over 100 newly minted billionaires in the U.S. in this next 12 months, according to our calculations. So that's one of our standing features, is to let our audience know about who's hit that threshold as a newly minted billionaire and introduce them to the community. And we're also going to have exclusive coverage with billionaires around the country, and just have a sit-down interviews and really have the opportunity to learn about them, what they're working on now, how they achieved the billionaire status. And then very, very new on our, very shortly on our agenda here is to launch a podcast where we'll be interviewing these billionaires. So a lot ahead of us, and as you can imagine, I hope you're hearing it, a lot of excitement in doing this endeavor.
See you tonight, read about it tomorrow, but hear it now on Mottek On Money on 790 KABC. You got me thinking, Jessica Alba certainly attained a billionaire status. Taylor Swift, who certainly has a presence here at Magic Johnson, also minted as a billionaire. Very, very exciting time, and certainly people that should be celebrated and certainly are celebrated at various business events that you've headed here at Matt Toledo and many others. So can look forward to other. You're going to be doing events as well?
Well, that's probably more downstream and probably a little more intimate, but we'll see about that. I'm really focused on the media enterprise at the moment, and then podcasts, and then ultimately events. That's
terrific. And it looks like Jeff Bezos, among the esteemed group of billionaires here in the Los Angeles area, it looks like Jeff Bezos, as far as billionaire amount, has ascended to the very top since he has the biggest place in Beverly Hills these days.
Well, yeah, he's at a whole different stratosphere. Those individuals that are over what's called 200 billion plus is just that's really a astronomical number and incredible status.
All right, and certainly Elon Musk. Elon Musk too. Elon Musk was a Bel Air resident for many years and still comes here for SpaceX for the time being, right? So he's way at the top of the list.
Yeah, indeed. One of the interesting things Jeff said recently, Jeff Bezos that is rather than ranking billionaires based on their net worth, it should be maybe a list on the impact that they're having, and we're certainly scratching at how to accomplish such a listing and ranking, because I think that's very intriguing.
Terrific, Matt. We'll look forward to speaking with you many times down the line here on your new adventure, let's call it, billionairereporter.com. Matt Toledo, who is now heading up a new venture, the former CEO of the Los Angeles Business Journal, former publisher of the LA Business Journal, and past chair of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as Provisors, the great networking group here in the Los Angeles area. Matt Toledo now heading up billionairereporter.com. Matt, thank you very much for breaking the news with us here live on Mottek On Money on 790 KABC.
Well, thanks for having me, Frank. Best wishes to you. Look forward to talking to you again in the future.
All the best to you and your team there. Thank you very much for joining us here on Mottek On Money, 790 KABC.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ritlin. It's raw.
Any single time that you left the wire, you could lose 4 guys.
It's unfiltered.
That was the most horrible screaming I'd ever heard. Taking a hit on the chin, you want to pay it back?
It's tough talk from the top minds in their field.
Would I choose to not do our duty as military fighting men? No, I would not make that decision without question.
Mic drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Mottek On Money continues. 790 KABC. The car business still nervous about tariffs. Ford, the latest to issue new guidance based on the tariff outlook. It looks like tariffs potentially have a big impact following all of this and the latest trade deals between the U.S. and Japan, as well as the U.S. and Europe this week. Joining us live now is our go-to car expert, Lauren Fix, editor-in-chief of Car Coach and the host of the Total Car Score podcast. Lauren, thank you very much for coming to the line. First, on this Ford news, have you had a chance to take a look at it here and the potential impact tariffs will have on Ford's bottom line?
Yeah, Ford had a conference call today, and they said they're going to turn off electricity and step on the gas, and they're going to focus on gas and diesel vehicles. Can't believe they finally admitted it, that they're drastically going to increase their profitability by reducing electric vehicle mandates. It's gone, and they're going to make gasoline and diesel vehicles, and they're saying that the drivers want it, making it a dominant part of their plan. And they say that the CAFE fines are gone, which is the corporate average fuel economy, and the EPA regulations that were in place are going out the door because Lee Zeldin announced that yesterday. Of course, there is still a 45-day period where you're allowed to comment. So wherever you stand on the issue, you'll have 45 days to comment on the Federal Registry, and you can find that through the EPA website. So I find that very interesting that then it goes to vote, and if it becomes a law, all those mandates are gone. All those greenhouse gas rules are gone. Things like CO2, which plants need in order to be green, in order to give you food that we eat, that will no longer be considered a bad type of air thing in the air. So that's really important. So, but until 2025, Ford's profitability was sabotaged by the U.S. government. So that is officially gone and out the door, and now it's about making money. So big news for Ford, and I give them a lot of credit for admitting this happened and what they're going to do to make the change.
Well, so Ford looks like number one as far as domestic producers of vehicles, right? Or does Tesla still hold that crown?
Tesla did at some point, but the F-150, the Ford F-150 or the Ford F-Series is still the best-selling vehicle by far. But still, you've got vehicles like the Honda Civic and the Toyota Camry are still big sellers. And, of course, the SUV, which would be the CR-V, and the Highlander are still very, very popular vehicles. And Toyota, again, very smart positioning for them, with them saying, listen, we're building vehicles here, and they're beating the tariff with that. And, of course, if you are looking to buy a new vehicle here in 2025 because of the big, beautiful bill, you can save money by putting your vehicle identification number in your tax returns. Again, please check with your accountant to find out what that is, but it's a $10,000 credit. So I'm not sure exactly how that goes in the state of California versus other states, so contact your local accountant and get some information before you sign on the dotted line when it comes to buying a car.
All right. What's the future of that electric Mustang, that SUV-looking like vehicle? The traditional Mustang fans weren't too happy with that one.
Well, I am a traditional Mustang fan. I collect Mustangs, so I will never in my entire life call it a Mustang. It is a Ford Mach-E. To me, that was destroying a brand from a marketing standpoint. Since April of 1964, the Mustang has been a two-door sedan. It is not a four-door electric SUV. I guess they're going to make them as long as people want them. They're sitting all over lots all around the country. So if you're in California and you want one of those vehicles and your dealer will not be flexible on the price, because remember that $7,500 tax credit goes away at the end of September, look at another state. There's tons of them. I'm in New York State. They're just sitting on lots. But I promise you they're in Nevada, Arizona, and everywhere else. So if that's what you want to purchase, always shop around. It's best to shop local and help the local economy. But if they won't be flexible on the price, you can always look outside your local area. But as far as the Mach-E, as I will officially call it, it may be around for a while, and you might see it come back as a hybrid because you're starting to realize, and I'm actually sitting in a brand new 2026 Hyundai Palisade right now. We just finished testing it. And I'll have the review on my website, Car Smarts on YouTube or on CarCoachReports.com. They said, we have electrics. If you want it, you can buy an Ioniq 9. But they're focusing, and they're smart, they're focusing on Hyundai's doing hybrid and gas. And right now they're putting the gasoline version out first because they know the take rate is much higher. So this is interesting to watch the whole industry shift like I've been talking about for the last 20 years. Finally, they're realizing it's about profits. It's about getting you the cars you want and bringing the prices more in line with what people can afford.
On the air live with Lauren Fix, editor-in-chief of Car Coach Reports and the Total Car Score podcast. So the new Cash for Clunkers, might that involve EVs?
Yeah, that's very interesting. This is something that's a state by state. So Cash for Clunkers was a total disaster. But California has reinvented it, calling it Clean Cars for All. Now, if you've got an older car you want to get rid of and you are 100% getting an electric vehicle, look at the Clean Cars for All. But it is sort of a scheme because you can't make a lot of money, but then they want you into a new car and they want to destroy your old car. So it's important that you look into this very carefully before you jump onto that. It is offering up to $12,000, mostly in the Bay Area for residents who are retired. And so that would be if you retired from 2007 up to now. So it gives you some opportunities. They want you out of cars. In reality, they want you to switch to public transit or an e-bike, which they will offer you an e-bike credit. But that's great some of the time. But if you're in LA, you kind of need a car to get around. There's not always mass transit. So it's really important that if you do look up the Clean Cars for All program that you read it carefully because they will destroy your old vehicle. You cannot sell it to someone. You cannot give it to a family member. You have to get rid of it and they will destroy it. So that is the one thing. It takes away used vehicles for the market. It takes away parts if you need them for another car. So I'm really not a fan of this program whatsoever, and I have a feeling it's going to disappear just like Cash for Clunkers.
That's very interesting, and I see you've done a nice video on that story as well on your YouTube channel. What about this new radar detector? I see you've had a chance to take a look at that too. What do we need to know about radar detectors nowadays?
I am a radar detector person. I have since the beginning. And Escort, which we used to be Cincinnati Microwave, which is now Escort Radar Incorporated, has come up with the newest radar detector, state-of-the-art. It has no more false alarms like we all used to have if you've ever owned a radar detector. This is the new 360C. It has the fastest response time of any radar detector that's on the street, and they also have a camera that you can get both forward and rear so you can record, because you know a lot of people are doing silly things these days, like you're stopped at a red light and someone could back into you and say you hit them. So these cameras are dash cameras. They record in 4K, so they're really crystal clear. It will protect you from a possible accident, an insurance issue, or something along those lines. Escort has really got some new cool technology, and if you've got an older one, they'll take it in on trade, which I think is fantastic.
That's very interesting. Are we going to see you out here soon to go to the Tesla Cafe here, the Tesla Diner? Maybe I can take you there next time you're out this way. I know you're going to probably be coming out for the LA Auto Show, which will be here before you know it.
I would love that. I would love that. We would have a good time. I think it's a great, smart marketing move. It's helped his stock grow. It's helped people come back to the brand because right now they're only allowing Teslas to charge there, but I hear the food is good. He hired a high-end chef, and everything comes in a Cybertruck box, which is really smart marketing. Again, he is the marketing king. They're going to eventually open that up to non-Tesla vehicles to charge there as well. But if you've got a gasoline-powered vehicle, you'll have to park on the street somewhere and go there and stand in line because I hear the food's worth it.
All right, I'll try to make a reservation, and we'll get you out of here. Lauren Fix, thank you very much, Lauren. You're terrific. Thank you very much for joining us live here. Lauren Fix, our go-to car expert, editor-in-chief of Car Coach Reports and the Total Car Score podcast, live with us here on Mottek On Money on 790 KABC. Another big day, another big week for Wall Street with the Dow pulling back 172 points today at the close. The S&P 500 down 8, the NASDAQ up by 31. Both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 near record highs set just recently. The VIX index, the volatility index, down 3% today. Gold pulling back by about $24 at $3,328 and change. I'll be back again with more at 4 tomorrow afternoon here on Mottek On Money, 790 KABC.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
The United States have the lead.
The United States in full command.
To the back post, settled, scores! Centering, doubling his tally.
Never miss a game.
Hooks it across, into the middle, and there's the opening goal. 2 for the United States.
Never miss a moment.
Barreling in, cutting in, going for goal, deflected and in. Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.